this is very cool. I'm here with Betty King. She is the granddaughter of Roland White, the very gentleman who built these cars. And you knew him, didn't you?
Oh, yes. He died in 1932 when I was 30 years old. I loved him very much. He was a wonderful grandfather, very generous and loving. And he would have loved you.
Oh.
Anybody who has a passion
Yeah.
for something was that he felt that that was the way life should be lived.
Now, he also was in the Inventors Hall of Fame, correct?
Right, and
Just-
in the Automotive Hall of Fame
Right.
as well.
And he was a true genius. You know, it's hard to put in perspective how good the White steam car was, because now we think of cars, you turn the key and you go. But gasoline cars of that era, you had to crank them by hand, so there was a chance you could break your arm if it backfired. You had to set the choke, had to set the magneto, had to set the carburetor. Imagine any time you've had a regular car with electric starter go, and it doesn't start and then finally catches. Imagine doing that by hand. Well, that's what you had to do. With the White steam car, you lit your vaporizer, you waited 3 or 4 minutes, you turned on your fuel, waited another 4 or 5 minutes, and then you drive away. Steam cars used to take 20 or 30 minutes to get going. A White you can get going in 5 to 8 minutes. I know it's still not turning a key, but hey, we're talking 100 years ago.
Well, yes, the flash boiler was the breakthrough
Right.
for him. He was in France during the late 1880s, and was apprenticed with a bicycle and automobile manufacturer, and that was when he became so turned on to the concept of
Right.
steam cars and so forth. So when he came back, first he worked for a bicycle manufacturer, and then he went to work for my great-grandfather, his father, at the White sewing machine company, and that was where he began experimenting with the White steamer and the flash boiler, and then the Stanhope, which was the first one, was developed and test-driven in 1901.
Yeah, like we always say, the first days of new technology are always much worse than the last days of old technology.
Absolutely.
And the steam car, the White steam car, of course, was the first official White House cars, weren't they?
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
I've brought you a gift.
Oh, what is that?
This is the famous postcard of President Taft and his family riding in his white car, and it was used
Oh, look at that.
as a promotion. This was sent to somebody in Pocahontas, Iowa, by a demonstrator who
Oh, yeah.
wanted to sell him
Oh, look at that.
a
Yeah.
white steam car.
Yeah, look at that. Look at Howard Taft. Not a small man, Howard Taft.
No.
But he looks tiny in the back of it. And the car we have here, the 1909 40-horse White steamer, is the exact same car, not the car, but exact duplicate of the car that Howard Taft rode in, even down to the color. Oh, that's really neat. Well, I will put that on my wall. Thank you very much.
You're very
That's
welcome.
very exciting. I just like how many people are riding in the car. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just 6 people, and you can still get another 2 or 3 of them in there.
But Taft accounted for about 3 people.
Yeah, he was, I think, 350 pounds, something like that. And the car does appear to be doing this, going down. It does kind of look like it's going down the road that way a little bit. But they also built, of course, closed cars and limousines. I've never seen one of the closed Whites. That would be fun to see one day.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah. I think most of those. See, the thing with these cars were, they were made of such, at the time, exotic and high-quality metals that they all got melted down for the war effort. And by 1917, the gas car was here to stay, and the steam car was yesterday's technology. So most was discarded or thrown away and not worth very much. And when the war effort came, you were a good American, you'd give your White steam car. Because although there are more Stanleys around today than there are Whites, they built something like 10,000 Whites and only about 3,000 to 4,000 Stanleys, something like that. But for some reason, the Stanley's engines could be taken out and used to run sawmills and everything else, whereas these were a bit more complex and a bit more exotic. So
they were more technically sophisticated. And part of the family lore is that at one point, grandmother absolutely flatly refused to go on Sunday drives with grandfather because if they passed a car that was broken down, whether it was steam or gasoline, whether it was a White or anything else, grandfather simply had to stop and help them out.
Well, that's why my wife doesn't ride with me on Sunday, because I do exactly the same thing. But you have never been in a White steam car, is that correct?
I have never been in one.
we are going to fix that today. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that today.
That would be wonderful.
For those of us that have these cars and understand them, we realize what a genius your grandfather was. His system of regulating the fuel and the water pressure, all done mechanically without any electronic. Now everything is electronic and it's fairly simple, but just the thought process involved in doing this, you know, because steam cars were pretty much from the mid-1800s up until 1920, or up until he came along, they just sort of did it the same old way. And he really came out with a more practical, realistic way of generating steam, which even Doble copied as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they say Doble built the best steam car, but I kind of go with the White. But Doble could not have done it without
Without
Roland. I always say Roland, but it's Roland.
Right. There were 3 brothers who were involved.
Right.
Uncle Walter was the one who was the salesman, and spent a lot of time in England.
Oh, well, the English, of course, quote, invented steam with Watt, and you know, they had steamships. The English were running steam cars in 1803. They had steam coaches, and they guarded that technology the way we guard our NASA technology.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it gets out. But, you know, Britannia was able to rule the waves because of the steamships and all the steam-powered vehicles they had. So, and to this day, steam still runs our nuclear submarines and all that type of thing on our power plants. So it's still being used. In fact, I have in there a 1969 Pontiac that General Motors built to run on steam to try and figure out how to get better emissions, and that uses many of the White principles as well. So steam technology really stopped with your grandfather and Doble. Those were the last 2 guys to make it as efficient, and nobody's done a better job of making it more efficient in an automobile than they did. So it's pretty exciting.
Do you think that now that gasoline's become so expensive that somebody may go back and?
I don't think so, because you need a way to heat the water. You've got to carry 2 or 3 different fuels: water, oil, gasoline. And like the Stanley over there, you're driving a car that's made of wood and it's on fire and it's got hot water. So you can get burned to death and scalded to death at the same time. So I don't think steam will ever make a comeback, because it's not particularly efficient. What it is somewhat romantic. You know, there is a cloud of steam is certainly much more, much nicer than a big cloud of oily smoke. You know, and when you pull up in a steam car, first of all, it's quiet. The engine turns very slowly. You know, they often call steam power the hand of God, because when you open the gas car, you go vroom, vroom, whereas with a steam car, you open the throttle and there's this tremendous push. It just feels like the hand of God pushing you down the road.
Really?
Know.
Well, I have another gift for you.
Oh, what is that?
This is our family history.
Oh, cool.
Which I wrote with another woman for my mother in 1992.
Oh, this is terrific. You know, a lot of times when you research history, you get a little creeped out because you go, oh, gee, that's a terrible person. But your grandfather was ahead of his time. Tell me about the African American college that he.
Oh, well, it was his father who. It was Thomas Howard White, who was the White sewing machine man, who supported Mary McLeod Bethune in her education for women efforts at
African American women.
African American women at the beginning of the century. He met her in Daytona when he was spending the winter there. And Daytona is where the Bethune-Cookman College, that was a merger of her women's college and Mr. Cookman's men's college, and now it's one of the leading black universities.
Yeah, he was a visionary both with sewing machines and steam engines and in the human condition as well.
All the White companies, the White sewing machine company and particularly the White Motor Company, was famous for being wonderful employers.
Well, they did make the White gas automobile too, and that was another high quality car.
Oh yes, in fact, most of the trucks that were used by both the French and the American Army in the First World War were Whites.
Look at this happy couple, huh?
They were both born in 1776. She became blind, and he took care of her. And that was a picture of her after.
Oh, I was going to say, yes, because he doesn't look like he'd stop and help you if your car broke down on the road.
There's grandfather with all his children and grandchildren. That's me.
There she is right there, the little scamp. I can't believe grandfather never took all you kids out for riding a steam car.
Well, you know, he'd moved on by then. He was making crawler tractors.
Right. And you know, back in the, you know, plus old cars is something that's fairly new in the last maybe 50 years. I mean, it wasn't something you look back on as something that you saved. You just moved on to the next. It was a product that you made.
That was very much, I think, his point of view.
There's a 1907 White, just like my 1907 White.
And that's Uncle Walter is driving, and Uncle Windsor is sitting next to him.
Now, is this available? Could people buy this online, this book, or is it just something you printed for the family?
We printed it for the family, but you know, it was in the old days before print on demand, and so I have a box or so at home. So if anybody wants it, they can get in touch with me.
Well, let's go take a ride.
Okay.
Oh, Betty's first ride in a steam car. It took her 80 years. Here we go. Betty, what do you think? How is it?
Oh, it's amazing. It is so smooth, and it's so much faster than I expected it would be.
Wow, her grandpa drove kind of slow. Well, I hope you had fun.
Oh, I had a wonderful time. I can't thank you enough.
Cool.